The purpose of the center is for people to find their American dream in the center. And for a person that never knew their father can come and look at stories of people that never knew their fathers. And when you ask in these surveys, what is essential to the American dream? Freedom. Freedom to live your life is essential. And when you ask what is not essential, personal wealth. You and I both know wealth doesn't bring happiness. And I was just looking at this video of an individual who told me he achieved his American dream by coaching his daughter's soccer team. So what we hope is that this is a symbol of hope, that everyone can come in here, they can see this tree of generation, they can put their picture up, their parents' picture, their kids', and they can think about what it means to have freedom and live in America.
I love what you're saying, that it's about freedom and not about wealth. You've incorporated 4 pillars in this center. I want you to walk us through those pillars and tell us why those pillars are so central to the American dream and gaining that.
Well, they're also central to my own life. Now, Maria, you can have dreams, I can have dreams, I could have a million dreams. But if I don't have my health and I can't get out of bed, and like in '93 when they told me I had 18 months to live when I was diagnosed with cancer, you know, I could think about maybe I won't be able to see those dreams. And I was no different than any cancer patient. And so health and medical research, something you and I have interacted with for decades, is one of the pillars. And unfortunately, still in America, your life expectancy is still related to your zip code. We have to deliver this message that quality health care is available to all. So that's your healthcare pillar. Entrepreneurs and innovation, those unusual people who think of new ideas and new ways of doing things, those are their stories. One of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time was Lee Kuan Yew, and he was the head of a country. So those stories are not just the people that build companies or my stories of MCI or cellular or things over the years, but they're also stories of people that chose a different path. Then there's finance, something you and I know well. You could have dreams, but those dreams don't necessarily come true if no one will loan you money. So when we ask people who founded or who created air conditioning, the #1 answer is Carrier. But 40 to 50 years or more before Carrier, there was a doctor who needed to cool operating rooms, and he created air conditioning, but no one would give him money. And so his idea never became a reality. And lastly, what underpins all of it, education and the educator. What we've found over 50 years is the most important factor for a person outside of the home is the teacher in the classroom. Who was that one teacher you had that changed your life? We have a story here when you come of a young woman who was very hard of hearing and almost deaf. And when she was in school, they told her she would never amount to anything because of her disability. Well, she had a teacher that took her in. Modern technology allowed her to hear. Today, she's the principal of the school she went to.
Tell me what you're expecting on a day-to-day basis here, because you're talking about these 4 pillars, and are they each on a different floor in this incredibly grand building? What will happen on a day-to-day basis?
There are 5 buildings we started with, and we built to 6. And these were separate buildings, and a lot of incredible things happen in these buildings. We're sitting in what used to be the Riggs Bank, the Bank of Presidents that financed so many things for the country. And almost every president from Lincoln on had their safety deposit box in this building. So what will they find? They'll find this tree of generation that they can tell their story. They can put their family. They'll find a word cloud in another big bank hall that they can put their own definition of the American dream. And that cloud's colors change as people change in what they think of the American dream.
What do you believe is most important for us to be thinking about in the current state of affairs with regard to immigration?
The most valuable company in the world, you know what it is, NVIDIA. A young man from Taiwan came here, and we are lucky he chose America. Or the CEO of Microsoft was born in India, and he came and chose America. Or the CEO of Alphabet, Google, and so on. And so many of our breakthroughs are people that have come to this country and made enormous contributions. So we need to figure out what are the rules that can continue to attract. You and I have spoken about it over the years.
Yep.
But the most important value is the productivity of people and our social capital. It is estimated, Maria, that the value of human and social capital in this country is a minimum of 1,500 trillion to 2,000 trillion. Well, that is 6 to 8 times the financial assets and all the assets that are hard assets in the country, the value of stock, bonds. It's 50 to 70 times our economy. And so we have this amazing asset that the best and brightest people want to come to America and feel they have their best chance to rise up. Your ancestors, my ancestors, came from Europe. Your family built one of the great little restaurants.
That's right.
Some of the people that work for me told me what a great restaurant that is.
Thank you. I think what President Trump has tried to do is separate legal immigration from illegal immigration. People confuse that.
I think we need to define the rules. One of the things we've talked about for decades is we need to staple a green card when you graduate college, educated here, given skills, and then we make it hard for them to stay. Okay, that's trillions of dollars of human capital that could move that we need to keep. Next, we need to set with the rules. There's a very important issue. What about all those people that are here that are not documented? What about those that have been here 5, 10, 15, 20 years, that have been paying taxes and working hard and don't have any criminal records? They need to be told that we want them to stay and find a way for them to stay. And I think the president, who has great insight, is going to find a solution to that. Probably the greatest achievement of mankind that you and I have spoken about has been the extension of life. Most Americans don't know that 1 in 5 Americans died by their 5th birthday at the start of the 20th century. In the whole world, 1 in 2 people died before their 5th birthday. And life expectancy at the start of the 20th century was 31 years of age. Now, even you like the fact that can be older than 31 and have a vibrant life. And so today, life expectancy is 73 years, 125 years, more than a doubling of life expectancy. So yes, this is essential. And for your dreams to come true, as we discussed, you need good health.
What do you want to say about AI right now and how it is going to change the way we live, change the way we work in the coming, 5 years, 3 years?
Well, I would say the easiest one to understand is what AI is going to do for your health. And they've had studies showing that it does the best job in diagnosing. We can take all the data. We can let you know based on your mutations or your particular disease, not a general disease like breast cancer, but your breast cancer, what is the best treatment for you, et cetera. It allows us to diagnose you early. These new blood tests, we always knew that cells leaked things into your blood. We just didn't know what to do with it. So now you have these blood tests that identify cancer before you ever could find it because it's leaked DNA into your cell. So that one is simple. The negatives are, can we project false images? Can we create false images of people speaking? Many years ago, there was this movie, Running Man, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, where they mapped his face on someone else that had murdered someone. So that he was convicted, you had a video of him. How many of the videos we see today are real? Okay, I sit here with you and I know you're Maria, that young girl who I gave her first interview to decades ago.
That's right.
But there'll be an AI of you. You will have your avatar. And what is your avatar going to say? So the avatars we created that you will see here in the center of people where you can talk to them, they're concerned that they can be asked questions and have a different answer taken from data than they would have said.
Right.
One of the things we hope people have a chance to see here is we built the first holodeck in America. And so it's immersive. You hear the story of individuals, their wishes, their lives, etc. And so you're immersed in their lives.
And we'll have more with Mike Milken in the coming weeks on Sunday Morning Futures. My thanks to Mike Milken from the Center for Advancing the American Dream. We'll be right back.